San Francisco just committed more than $4 billion to 2 hospital projects on the opposite side of the same neighborhood. That's now one of the largest capital investments this city has ever seen outside of tech. This will vastly change how 2 different parts of San Francisco live, price, and grow. San Francisco just placed one of its biggest bets on the city and no one's talking about it. Right now, 2 massive hospital projects on the same side of the city are taking place. UCSF is in the middle of building a $4.3 billion replacement hospital at Parnassus Heights. On the other hand, Kaiser Permanente just filed permits to build a new hospital for the first time in San Francisco in over 70 years. This will be just a few blocks away at Gary and Divisadero. Most people know at least one of these projects is taking place, but most people aren't connecting the dots. It feels like no one's asking the question that I get almost every week, which is how do these projects affect the neighborhoods around them? This is what we're gonna break down in today's video. What's being built, where it actually sits, and which parts of San Francisco are going to see the ripple effects first. By the way, hi everyone, my name is Epstein and I'm a lifelong San Franciscan and realtor here in the Bay Area. If you're ever looking to buy, sell, invest, or even rent a property in or around San Francisco, I'd be more than happy to help you. Please don't hesitate to contact me on my information below. And with that, let's get into the video. Okay, so to begin, let's talk about the hospital's locations. UCSF's project is at Parnassus Heights. This is the campus that UCSF has occupied since the early 1900s. It's tucked into the hill above Cole Valley and the Inner Sunset. This is exactly where the new Helen Diller Hospital is being built. It's right on the site of the old Langley Porter Psychiatric Building. Now, Kaiser's project is not at Parnassus. It's about half a mile north in a neighborhood called Anza Vista, right next to Gary and Divisadero. For those that don't know, that's the current Kaiser San Francisco Medical Center. This is also where the replacement hospital will go, right across the street from the current one. So just to be crystal clear, you have 2 separate hospital systems going on here. They're 2 separate multi-hundred million to multi-billion dollar projects. These 2 neighborhoods don't touch each other, but are close enough to where they're both pulling from the same areas. Some of which include Laurel Heights, Inner Richmond, Cole Valley, Ashbury Heights, and the Inner Sunset. Okay, up next, let's talk about what's actually being built. Let's start with UCSF here because it's further along the process. This is a 15-story hospital with roughly 880,000 to 900,000 square feet of space. When it opens, it will add about 336 new patient beds. Combined with renovations to the existing Moffitt and Long hospitals, it pushes UCSF's health capacity up 37% or 682 beds. They're also adding 22 new operating rooms, bringing the total to 40. Furthermore, they're almost doubling emergency department capacity. Construction broke ground in 2024 and they're expected to open in 2030. Now let's move on to Kaiser. This one is newer news because permits were just filed in June. Kaiser wants to replace its hospital that was built in 1954 on Gary. This is currently 9 stories and amounts to 367,000 square feet of space. It currently has 239 semi-private beds. The replacement will be a 14-story all-electric tower with nearly 300 private beds. The building will have an expanded emergency department and total nearly 760,000 square feet of space. This would be Kaiser's first new hospital in San Francisco in over 70 years. If it clears city and state approval, construction can begin as early as 2028 and it can open as early as 2033. A fact you might not know is that both of these projects are being driven by the same underlying issue. California's seismic safety requirements are forcing hospitals to either be retrofitted or built entirely new. These projects are not a coincidence. This is the whole reason this wave of hospital construction is hitting San Francisco right now. Up next, let's talk about the numbers behind these projects. Here's where the scale of these projects really hits home. UCSF's project carries an estimated price tag of $4.3 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B. To help things get kicked off, they received a $500 million donation from the Helen Diller Foundation. Hence, while the entire project or complex will be named the UCSF Helen Diller Hospital. Kaiser still hasn't released a full cost estimate yet, since it's still in the planning and permit stages. However, permit filings alone put site work and the parking structure at costing over $100 million. I know that doesn't seem like a big number when you're comparing it to the UCSF project, but when you're looking at a new building of 14 stories high and over 750,000 square feet, this can easily cost much more than that once the final numbers come out. I can see this being in the multi-$100 million or even to the billion-dollar range once everything is said and done. Even if you're being conservative about Kaiser's final number, you're looking at a total, if you're combining the two hospitals, of over $4.4 billion of new investment in hospitals in the city. This is a huge bet in a small footprint for a city that hasn't seen that kind of medical infrastructure or spending in place in a long time. Money at this scale doesn't show up by accident and doesn't get scaled back. When two competing independent healthcare systems are spending multi-$100 million to billion dollars into their projects in San Francisco nearby, that sends a clear signal. They expect San Francisco to remain a major population and care center for decades to come. Next, let's speak about what this actually means for buyers. When you drop this much infrastructure into two spots, you don't just get one neighborhood that benefits. You typically get a spread of areas pulling different kinds of buyers for what they look for in daily life. I'm going to break this into three different groups. First, you have the proximity buyer. This is someone who wants to be close enough to walk or bike to work. Near Kaiser, you have Anza Vista, Jordan Park, Laurel Heights, and the Inner Richmond. Near UCSF Parnassus, you have Cole Valley, Ashbury Heights, and the Inner Sunset. Next, we have the close enough lifestyle buyer. This is someone who doesn't need to walk or bike to the hospital, but still wants to be close enough in a central location. They typically look for good restaurants, walkability, and want some housing with character or charm. On the Kaiser side, I would say that's Nopa and Alamo Square. For the UCSF side, I would say that's Inner Sunset and Golden Gate Heights. And lastly, we have the space-focused buyer. This is someone who wants more house for their money and is willing to commute for it. That's where West Portal, Forest Hill, and San Francis Wood comes into play for UCSF. On the Kaiser side, you might be looking at the Outer Richmond or maybe even something like Daly City. Here, you can get meaningfully more space for your dollar and a commute that's totally reasonable. Lastly, let's talk about what this means for people who already own nearby. Let's be honest, this is all great news, but it likely won't affect your home's value in the next quarter. Both of these hospitals are years away from opening. UCSF in 2030 and Kaiser in early 2030s pending approval. This looks to be a long, slow signal, not a short-term spike. Nevertheless, it is a signal. These two competing healthcare systems are investing hundreds of millions to billions of dollars in neighborhoods that you are in or close to. That tells you something about how these organizations look at San Francisco in the next coming years. This is the kind of long-term confidence that tends to support values over time. So to tie everything in together now, San Francisco is committing over $4 billion to two completely different and separate hospital systems for their hospitals here in San Francisco. These will be just a half-mile apart, and it will affect San Francisco neighborhood values, but it will affect them all in different ways. It will likely concentrate attention on the neighborhoods that are closest to the hospitals. It will pull different buyers to different parts of that radius depending on what they actually want to do in their day-to-day life. If you're looking to see where you fit into that picture, that's the kind of conversations I love to have, so please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Okay, now, so that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and it would mean the world to me if you could like, comment, and subscribe. The best way you can support me and my channel is to actually share this with a friend or family member who you think would find value out of this. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.